For our final avoidable mistake, we're going to look at another writing error. The last one was about grammar questions. This one in particular is an error that comes up when you're doing one of the rhetorical skills questions, which are those questions where you have to add a sentence, rearrange a sentence, add a detail, change something, not because of grammar reasons, but because you need to improve the quality, clarity, organization, etc. of the passage. And so with these, you need to make sure not just to read the whole sentence. I mean, in this case, we're certainly going to read the whole sentence, given that the question is going to ask about that. But we need to often read at least the whole paragraph. In fact, sometimes you need to read the previous paragraph and the following paragraph as well. But in this case, we're just going to focus on the paragraph, because if we just read this sentence, right, again, the sentence with the underline, if we focus on that and we sort of ignore the first part of the paragraph, we might get a mistaken impression about what's going on here and about what we need to add here. So the question's asking, which of the following provides the most useful detail to develop the claim made in the first part of the sentence? Well, sentence says, beagles can get work as hunters in the field and as members of the Beagle Brigade in airports, where they receive many pets and hugs. So which one is going to develop the claim, the most useful detail to develop the claim in the first part of the sentence? Well, I look at A, where they receive many pets and hugs. I mean, it's interesting, but doesn't really develop the first part of the sentence at all. Doesn't tell us, for example, who the Beagle Brigade is or why they're in airports or anything like that. Not super useful. B, where they use their powerful sense of smell for good. Okay, that might explain like why they're in airports. Maybe following sentences in the next paragraph might tell us a little more, but okay, maybe B is in the right direction. C, though they much prefer to take naps at home. Well, doesn't really develop the first part of the sentence. It actually shifts to a new idea, to a contrasting idea. So I don't really think that's giving the question what it wants. How about D, assisting the USDA by inspecting luggage and sniffing out prohibited agricultural goods? Okay, maybe that explains what they're doing in airports. So at the very least, I'm down to B and D. A lot of times, students might actually just circle B here first time they see it and move on. But as we've discussed, always check all four because you might note that D looks pretty good too. So let's reveal the rest of the paragraph. Beagles are often called noses with 4 legs. This powerful sense of smell, one of the most potent in all of dog kind, can lead them into trouble as much as it can be a great asset. Beagles can get work as hunters in the field and as members of the Beagle Brigade in airports, blah, blah. So now suddenly, down to B versus D, things change. First, we have some redundancy. We already said earlier in the paragraph that they have a powerful sense of smell. So are we really getting something useful out of repeating that here? It's implied or really just discussed in this paragraph how and why they're using their powerful sense of smell in productive ways. Does this add anything new? Does this add anything useful to develop the claim now that we see it was actually already previously mentioned? Not really. I would also say, powerful sense of smell for good, it's a little vague, and we already know that we're talking about how their sense of smell can be an asset. It can be useful. It can be a good thing, not just get them in trouble. So once we look at the paragraph as a whole, suddenly our thoughts on B change, and D is looking a lot better because D is much more specific in explaining what are they doing in airports, what's their job, and that's helping developing that opening claim. And it's not information that we already know. It's new and useful info. So make sure with rhetorical skills questions that you read the whole paragraph. Don't take shortcuts, right? It's not going to take that much more reading to make sure you read, say, the whole sentence for grammar or the whole paragraph for writing. It doesn't take that much more, and you can find some really important clues earlier in the paragraph, later in the paragraph, that might influence your answer. So give it a solid read, evaluate all 4 choices, be thorough and careful, find the best choice, and you'll be in good shape on these questions.